Rapido. Rapido. Hello and welcome to a show where we'll be mixing up humor, nostalgia, hot news and a point of view on certain rock world practices that some people might call sociological, but we all make mistakes, don't we? To make a long story short, we're about to present a Rapido which includes Sam Kinison, Stevie Nicks, our friends the advertisers, some girl rappers and Paul McCartney. Yes, Paul McCartney, who's going to conjure up his memories of the 50s for us and who is back on Rapido. Welcome, Popol. But first of all, make way for the scandalous Sam Kinison, that new American comedian whose everyone is talking about, and who comes from the same tradition that gave characters like Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor their fame. Rapido.
Settle down! We're about to let you in for the Bon Jovi video. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Is this going to be the same video slop that we always get from these glamour rock pretty boys? They get on camera and dance around with the same lighting angles, the same camera angles. Is this going to be the same kind of video we always get from you guys?
Yes, it is.
Is that good enough for you? No! Do you think we can make a better video than these guys do? Then why don't we take their cameras and make our own Bon Jovi video? Lights, camera, action!
Kinison is a dirty-talking comedian whose sensitivity is mirrored in his choice of pals, including those sleazy hard rockers Bon Jovi, whose Bad Medicine video he introduces. He's outraged the gay community with his routines on homosexuality and AIDS.
Okay, if they want to put me in an educational level, but I don't feel like my purpose is to educate people on health hazards or sexual habits. My purpose is to entertain. And I can't see anybody coming to my show forming their sexual preferences or habits after my performance.
Well, maybe it's better anyway. I may need you guys to bail me out later. So, have a good one. I'll see you later.
Yeah, I think I'll just sit here, finish my beer, maybe just talk to Rodney.
Really? Well, John, I'm so happy you decided to stay on.
As for Sam's relationships with women,
It just opened the door to hell like you cannot believe. That's where I got the scream, the whole concept of marriage is hell. I would wake up and I had such a nice dream. I wake up in my sleep and I go, I'm still with her. Oh, God, oh. There was no way to get away. And she loved me. She loved me. I was like, to try to break up with it. No, I love you. I was like, oh, don't love me. I'm a jerk. I used you.
his video for Wild Thing parodies the excesses of the genre.
Yeah, that was Slash's contribution. He came in and he goes, I don't want to play guitar. I want to destroy guitar. So we said, okay. So we shot some footage of him breaking a guitar, and then he fell in the box on his own, man. We were like screaming. That was a one-take shot.
It just came to my mind. I thought I'd say that. You make me trust you. This stuff's a knife in my heart.
To get Billy Idol and Steve Tyler and these guys to hang, these are great. This is Ted Nugent's ex-girlfriend. This is my wife's best friend. And these two girls have played a role in my life.
How do you live with yourself? You never loved me.
Rapido wondered who Sam Kinison's heroes might be.
Richard Pryor, I think he's major talent. I wish he was did more stand-up now instead of the bad movies that he's chosen. But I mean, he's an awesome legend. Lenny Bruce, of course, who I think paved the way for anybody who ever said a four-letter word on television or in the movies or anywhere in America. I mean, this guy was like the type of Christ for comedy anyway. I mean, this guy had to die, and it had to be such a terrible thing before people went, why are we busting people over what they say?
I take it that by now you've realized that Rapido goes for colorful people, as we just proved again with Sam Kinison. That's why Stevie Nicks feels right at home with us. She first started with Fleetwood Mac in '75, along with her ex-husband, Lindsey Buckingham, who recently left both of them, that is her and Fleetwood Mac. Stevie, however, is still singing with Fleetwood Mac, and also has a solo career that got off the ground long before she ended her duo with Lindsey. One could say that she's used to luxury, since everything she touches turns to solid gold, although that's not a good reason enough to let her touch me. On the other hand, she didn't really offer to touch me. Stevie is one hell of a woman. She's gone through detox programs more times than Bernard Hinault has won the Tour de France. She's obsessed with Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. She just finished an album produced by Rupert Inn, and she doesn't mince her words when it comes to poor Lindsey Buckingham. In other words, she's got guts, and what's more, she's on Rapido. Haven't we been?
Please welcome my daughter, Stevie Nicks.
And what you love, but did you ever have that? What you love.
A true American superstar from Phoenix, Arizona, Stevie Nicks rose to fame in the mid-70s when she took up with British expatriates Fleetwood Mac in LA, joining her husband, Lindsey Buckingham. They're now divorced, not only as man and wife, but as artists too.
Lindsey never took me very seriously. Though he loved me, he never took me very seriously. And he was much enamored with taking my songs and changing them, which always hurt me. And as much as I loved him, and as much as I cared about him, it was very hard for me to walk away and leave him one of my songs because I never knew what he was going to do with it. And if I came back and I didn't like it, his reply would be, well, you weren't here.
Oh, how build you a kingdom in that house on the hill, looking out for love.
For years, it was thought that Stevie's solo success would result in her leaving the band. But instead, following their Tango in the Night album, it was Lindsey who quit, and his ex-wife isn't exactly grieving.
The new Fleetwood Mac with Billy and Rick is very different because they don't take advantage of me like that, and they don't push me, and they aren't radical with me. Lindsey was always radical with me. And so Fleetwood Mac is a lot more fun to be in now.
The new lineup is already in the studio in California. Meanwhile, Stevie has been recording her fourth solo album, The Other Side of the Mirror, in England with producer Rupert Hine.
Because I lead two lives. I lead a life with Fleetwood Mac, and I also lead my own life. And so I'm constantly, you know, when everybody else gets to rest, I'm going back to the other side of the mirror to do the other things that I do. And it has to do with Alice in Wonderland and how crazy her life was. And there's a song on the record that says, "All right," says Alice, "I'm going back to the other side of the mirror." And that's what I kind of do. I run back and forth between each side.
All this toing and froing has taken its toll on Stevie, both professionally and emotionally.
For me, it has been to give up a lot of things, like marriage or children or a relationship. It's very hard for me to have a social life. It's very hard for me to go out. It's, again, since I have these two careers going, I have to go back and forth so quickly that I don't have much time. And very few men in the world will put up with that. Very few. And even if they do put up with it for a while, they get very tired of it after a while.
But been unfamiliar with almost everyone but you. Well,
There's one musical relationship that does seem to be working out for her, though, and that's with Tom Petty, perhaps because he shares her interest in Wonderland.
One day, Tom and I will do something really special. But we have that kind of a relationship that we are waiting, I think, around for that really special thing to come along. And maybe it'll be a song, or I don't know, for some reason something will happen, and Tom and I will maybe do a record together or something. I hope so. He's my favorite person to sing with. You say, Rihanna, don't go, Rihanna.
Thank you for being with us on this very special night. Good night.
Do rock music and advertising go together? Or is rock music selling its soul by endorsing everything from soft drinks to tampons? This is a debate that's been causing controversy in the music world since '81, the year that the Rolling Stones did the impossible when they asked the world-famous Janon Perfumes, oh come on, of course you've heard of the world-famous Janon Perfumes, to sponsor their worldwide tour. And since the greatest rock band in the world could do it, no one was surprised when everyone else followed. Michael Jackson, Tina Turner and Madonna for Pepsi, Lou Reed for Honda, Grace Jones for Nescafé, and even Sacha Distel for the Camembert. So, is it all right or not? Is what's gained in staggering sums lost in integrity? Are things as simple as they seem? Am I supposed to stay or should I go? In order to answer all these tormenting questions that are keeping Saatchi and Saatchi awake at night, Rapido got out its heavy guns and fired away questions at everyone, from Billy Gibbons to Paul McCartney, who, in just a little while, will do us the honor of appearing on Rapido for the second week in a row, and you won't hear me complaining about it.
Rapido. A lot of people think Levi's invented the blues.
Now, when I was a young boy,
In the last few years, the charts have been stuffed with old songs re-released on the back of adverts. But recent hits have also been appropriated by the advertisers, with Coke and Pepsi leading the Star Wars.
Won't you give me a break? Somebody give me a break.
All this leaves our friend Paul McCartney cold.
Well, you know, it's very tempting when someone offers you $1 million, isn't it? And you're just some kid. The Beatles never were in adverts. We had many offers, very big offers, but we always thought it cheapened the people. I still think it does. I think to some degree it cheapens Michael a little bit. But, you know, he doesn't agree. He likes to do it, and I think maybe the younger kids like to see him in the Pepsi ads. David Bowie, Tina Turner, you know, they all like to do it, so it's their own personal opinion.
Simply irresistible.
Robert Palmer's Simply Irresistible has just ousted the controversial Like a Prayer from the Pepsi Hall of Fame.
Simply irresistible.
Johnny's always running around trying to find certainty.
This sharp-dressed man has a more business-like attitude to pop-verts.
These days, the radio is extremely narrow cast. You know, there's the top 50 here, in America the top 40. It's very, very narrow. So the opportunity to get pieces of music played that are slightly outside of the mainstream get more and more difficult to find. And if there's an outlet for the piece of music, then I need to find it, because I'm not trying to make music to hang up on my wall at home. I want to communicate with it.
Planet on tour.
This song is about a famous pint. It's called Into the Dark, and we hope you like it.
Beer advertising is not supposed to target young people, yet Guinness have used the appropriately Irish band Clannad in the UK, and in the States, Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood have both attempted to make beer trendy. But who on earth would want John Lydon to endorse their product?
Years ago, Skull Lager, but they dropped out. There was talk of British Airways at one point, but they got frightened in the end. They all do, you know, they think that I'll probably give their product a bad name, and hopefully that would be the situation. It's important for touring to get sponsorship because it's so damn expensive. If you want to put on any kind of show at all, you need cash. I mean, that's why most bands do that.
I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you.
But where you go from there is entirely up to you.
The roll call of pop stars enlisted in advertising continues to grow, and now even the right-on Lou Reed has joined their ranks.
Hey, don't settle for walking. It's a creative outlet and it's a source of income. I don't really sell enough records to just be a purist. And I can't afford to be a purist. I also even thought about it like, you know, isn't this selling out and being part of the establishment? But that problem was really solved for me the first day I made a record. I mean, they're selling the record, so that's part of the establishment. You're in a record store, that's the end of that.
Ain't singing for Pepsi. Ain't singing for Coke.
But there are voices of dissent. Here's Neil Young.
Makes me look like a joke. This note's for you.
This note's for you is for me to say to the people who listen to me, who like my music, who I'm singing for. This note's for you. It's not this note's for Michelob who's giving this to you, or this note's for Budweiser. We give you this note through Budweiser. Or when you hear me, you hear me. It's for you. There's nobody in between.
Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in a little while with some more music for you. This note's for you.
The difference between male rappers and female rappers is pretty obvious, and it doesn't only have to do with the fact that the boys rap their Baba Tatou Petit était déjà très grand in a low pitch voice, while the girls rap back in a more high pitch voice, et il montrait son cul à tous les passants. No, the real difference we've seen, thanks to the break that's been given to female rappers like Salt and Pepper, Roxanne Chanté and Néné Chéri, is that the girls, in rap as in life in general, play less at being tough guys and are funnier than the boys. Well, as a general rule, of course, there are always exceptions to this rule, like Margaret Thatcher and Freddie Mercury. And now, Rapido is going to prove it to you with two of the hottest rappers of the moment, the Wee Papa Girls and Cookie Crew. Please make way for the rappers and remind me to tell you someday what rappers means in French. You'll get a kick out of it. Aren't we?